You're essentially using enhancing sports drugs. This was the last thing I expected to come across when I was making this video. If you spill some water on those and you're wearing socks, that's it. It's game over for you. In-game and out of game. Hey there otters, welcome to today's video. If you have been to my channel before, hello, hi, welcome. It's lovely to see you again. And if you haven't been to my channel before, hello, hi, welcome. It's really lovely to meet you. Today, we are jumping into part 2 of the history of Strawberry Shortcake console games that were released in the 2000s. I am not ready to be saying Strawberry Shortcake on repeat again. If you haven't seen part 1, I really recommend going and checking that out first. We covered the first 5 games that were ever released with the Strawberry Shortcake branding, theming, vibes. We saw some interesting ones in the first title, but this one, there is some absolute bangers and some curveballs, and I cannot wait to get into it with you. Also, if you do like today's video, please don't forget to leave it a like and subscribe if you want to join the Otter Den. I'm actually on a mission to reach 2,000 subscribers by the end of 2024, so give that subscribe button a little high five if you want to help me get there. And without further ado, let's jump straight on into part 2 of the history of the Strawberry Shortcake games. Oh my lord, this game is everything. The 2000s Y2K core is strong with this one. Why did I just turn into Yoda? And the European title of the game was actually different and was called Strawberry Shortcake Adventures in the Land of Dreams, with the North American release being Strawberry Shortcake Sweet Dreams. This is almost the perfect girly core game, not in a wider gaming industry standard, but for us gamer girly girls who know the culture around girly gaming of the 2000s, this one is it. The PS2 version, by the way, not the Game Boy Advance. The PS2 version is developed by ECO Software or EKO Software, who I've actually never heard of before, but have been pretty successful and were actually bought out in the late 2010s, and so technically are still going today. It's obviously published by Game Factory again, who have just monopolized Strawberry Shortcake at this point, and was released on both PS2 and Game Boy Advance. It did have a planned PC port release, but it never got there, and we never know why. Now we'll start off with my least favorite of the two, which is the GBA version, and this follows the film the closest in terms of its plot. The film was released in October, and I read somewhere online that this game was released in August of 2006, which I find hard to believe that they would release a console version of a movie, like the game version of a movie, so early on, like a whole 2 months before the movie releases. I guess this isn't really that big of a deal to them because it's just like a silly little Strawberry Shortcake game, no one's gonna care. The PS2 version was said to have been released around the time of the movie, about a week later. The Game Boy Advance version of the game follows truthfully to the plot of the film, even going so far as using stills from the movie in the cutscenes that break up the episodic platformer gameplay. It feels really familiar to previous GBA platformer titles. For me, it really reminds me of the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory game, which I loved as a kid. It also terrified me. It really does feel familiar to the previous Game Boy Advance titles that we looked at in part 1, and it has that godforsaken music again, but it does actually have some new tracks in this game, so we can forgive it a little bit for using that repetitive, soul-draining piece of music. The main plot of this game, and in turn the movie, is that Strawberry's friends have fallen out because Purple Pie Man is stealing all the strawberries or something, and you have a sleepover to make up, I guess, to be friends again. And it turns out that Purple Pie Man is not only stealing the strawberries from Strawberryland, but he's also stealing people's dreams. So you travel on the dream boat up to the land of dreams in order to save the day and help everyone dream again, which is a really random storyline, but oddly for the Strawberry Shortcake universe, it works. The game is fine on the whole. The only thing that gives me the ick a little bit is the graphics. They used a mix of 2D for the backgrounds and elements with kind of 2D, 3D for the characters and the moving parts of the game. Something about it just puts me on edge. But the real star of the show here, and the game of my dreams, pun completely intended, is Strawberry Shortcake Sweet Dreams for PS2. I love this game and I genuinely might make a full video on it just because I love it that much. It's not perfect at all by any means, and like I said, in the broader range of like the gaming industry and standards for that, it's a 3D episodic platformer title that features the Strawberry Shortcake characters from the film traveling to the land of dreams to help her friends dream again because they've mysteriously just stopped dreaming. As you can see, it loosely follows the movie plot but features like new events and locations that didn't happen in the film. Purple Pie Man, I don't think he's actually a part of this game. You don't see him. I think he's mentioned in that Strawberry Shortcake is like, oh, I bet it's Purple Pie Man, but you never actually see him. You also play a range of characters in this game, which I love. I've mentioned before that I really love the aesthetics of the Strawberry Shortcake universe, and there's something about things that are themed after food and drinks that I just really love, and I think that like the naming and the designs for the characters are really creative and cute. And although like the film, the story is really random and I feel like if it was in any other context it wouldn't make sense, but it's really nice to have a original concept for a game, even if it is based on the film, that isn't about collecting ingredients. You do collect seeds in this one in order to unlock gifts and like future characters, but you don't collect things as the main driving point for the plot, which is so nice and refreshing. The game actually feels like it would be a decent challenge for the player range. It has lots of puzzle solving elements with power-ups, and it's also super duper immersive and well themed. And I think that's my favorite part of this game, is how it feels. The minute you go like on the boat and you're in the dream world and like in the fantasy garden and things like that, it just feels nice and welcoming and friendly and immersive, and I could spend hours in this world. It just looks gorgeous and feels great. I think there's lots of cute details and thought that has gone into smaller parts of this game. For example, they changed the design of the power-up in accordance with which character you're using. So there's a flower tree which you grow, and when you are playing as Raspberry Tort, there is little raspberries, like it's a raspberry plant. When you're playing as Lemon Meringue, there's like lemon rinds on it. Like it's just the little details that they've thought about that make it feel like they've actually put effort into this game, and it feels like a game that they enjoyed making. Although as common as it is to be collecting ingredients for the plot in these games, the rushed conflict resolution is just as common and is present once again. It's done pretty badly. The fact that their dreams have returned isn't even mentioned. You obviously go to Dream World to help your friends dream again, and that's explicitly stated in like the opening sequence. But when you return, you just go to Ginger Snap, give her a present, and she's like, thanks Strawberry, good night, sleep tight. And Strawberry's like, oh my god, I can finally go to bed, night. And it's like, what happened to like the whole dream thing? Like Ginger Snap was so upset because her and her friends couldn't dream anymore. Can she dream now? Did we solve the dream machine? Is the dream in the present? I'm assuming that's what it is, but I do think this game is really cute. I feel like maybe if I actually played it, I would sense some issues with the gameplay and like the technical side of it feeling more satisfying and like nice to play, as I have read on some reviews online that it does have quite a difficult learning curve and can be really frustrating, especially with the power-ups and things like that. I can imagine if it's frustrating for an adult, I can only imagine what that feels like for the kids playing this game. I'm going to be honest with you guys and let you know straight off the bat that this is 100% a shovelware title through and through, and I have no regrets about saying that. You know how I said in part 1 that I feel like it's really difficult to make a platformer game shovelware? Well, we're about to look at one of the easier games to turn into shovelware, and that is the minigame based DS title, which this game certainly is. And I know we've already seen a couple of minigame titles already in part 1 of this video, but this one is really the queen and takes the crown of the Strawberry Shortcake shovelware. Again developed and published by Guerrilla and Game Factory, Strawberry Shortcake Strawberryland Games is the first DS title and a sports minigame title that aspires to be the Olympics, but really is your primary school sports day. You collect tickets by partaking in 6 mini-games that feature in the nearly once-a-yearly Strawberryland Games. Yes, you heard me correctly, there is only 6 different mini-games in this title. It's really not a lot for a whole DS title to stand on by itself. And you can already feel the quality of these games by looking at what they did to Strawberry herself. What did they do to her? Why does she look like this? She looks so awkward and like weird. It's her eyes, I think. They just look like they're popping out of her skull. And if we already knew what my sleep paralysis demon sounds like and was summoned by, we now know what it looks like. This is it. The Strawberry Shortcake Games are my sleep paralysis demon. They also made the characters walk really weird, like they literally walk like they've shit their pants. As mentioned, the whole premise of this game is that there's the Strawberryland Olympics, in that there is a whole load of different sports activities that Strawberry Shortcake really wants to partake in. And Orange Blossom is like, Strawberry Shortcake, you have to bring it. You have to beat Peppermint Fizz because she's cheating her way to the top of these games. You then, Strawberry Shortcake, play the games, earn your tickets, place where you place. Using your tickets, you buy ingredients, the ingredients are back again, in order to bake power-ups to use in sports. So essentially, if we think about this in a wider lens, you're essentially using enhancing sports drugs, which obviously is illegal and is considered cheating in real life modern day. So what are we really teaching here if we're just winning by cheating ourselves? And I think the multiplayer capabilities save this one from a solid 0 out of 5. I've read a lot online that this was a lot of people's first DS game, or they have really fond memories of this game. I think with titles like this, they really depend on children's imagination in order to be successful and to be playable. Like, there was games I would play as a kid, but I would add my own contexts in my head. Like, for example, with this game, I'd probably have it where it was Strawberry Shortcake's Olympic and she's about to win the gold medal. And I add this sort of role play imagination element in order to make the game more fun and entertaining for me. I don't know if that was just me. Let me know if it wasn't. Please let me know that I am not alone in this and that I had to make shovelware games interesting by using my imagination. Although, in order to play this title with friends, you did have to have a friend who also had the same game card, and it really does remind me of those random party-themed Wii titles that only had any real value if you played with friends. Although something I did find out which saves this game from being a 0 is that the manual inside was strawberry scented. Why can't titles do this anymore? Why can't we scent stuff? I understand probably for some games it's not appropriate, like GTA, COD, but for the cute games like Strawberry Shortcake, where's the strawberry scent gone? I mean, I can smell it now. The scent is strong enough and is imprinted on my nostrils. I have it. Imagine opening up that box and just that smell of that strawberry flavor just flooding at you. Oh, 10 out of 10. I also saw that on a IGN YouTube video for this, someone said that the only thing that this game taught them was stress. And if that doesn't say and sum up this game, then I don't know what will. Oh, I am so excited to talk about this one. This is the curveball of this video. I did not expect, this was the last thing I expected to come across when I was making this video and doing the research. We all know the icon Dance Dance Revolution, who is a classic feature in arcades, bowling alleys, all those places where arcade games still reside. There is always a Dance Dance Revolution platform there, and if there isn't, your arcade sucks. And what I didn't know is that Dance Dance Revolution actually produced a line of titles where literally you plugged a dance mat into your TV and it played a program of your favorite themed character, world, and believe it or not, there is a Strawberry Shortcake one. And I've never owned this, and I really am confident that no one else also owned this, but I can feel, smell, hear that plasticky material that this mat is made out of. This also came with strawberry scented stickers as well, and you know I'm a sucker for that, so this gets extra points. Similarly to musical matchups, given what this software was running off of, I think it's really hard to compare it to console releases, especially given that it literally does not run from a console. The entire piece of tech that runs this game and like powers the mat and everything is in a tiny box at the top of the dance mat. I honestly think it's a really neat idea to have these sort of like dance mats. I also feel like they're probably a big health and safety hazard. If you spill some water on those and you're wearing socks, that's it. It's game over for you, in-game and out of game. It features some really good music and bops from the Strawberry Shortcake universe. Visually, I think the game looks really nice as well. I love that they put a load of effort into building these really vibrant scenes that play as you are doing a specific piece of music. This really triggered a memory in me of a Bella Dancerella, or like Ballerella or something, dance mat that I had as a kid, which ran from a DVD, and like you had a dance mat that came with it. And like I said, I didn't even know that Dance Dance Revolution produced these things. I think it's really cool to have as a collector's item. I imagine that they didn't produce a lot at the time, so it's probably quite rare. Like, it just seems like it would be so much fun as well as a kid to have one of these like arcade games in your home. And considering how simple the software is, I think they did a really good job. And we've made it to the final Strawberry Shortcake game in the history of Strawberry Shortcake Games video, and I will give you a guess for what the plot is for this one. Of course, we're collecting ingredients. This time we have some interesting context though, and I think it's a really good game. Strawberry Shortcake, the Four Seasons cake, was released for DS in 2007 by the Game Factory, obviously, and developed by Shinen, which when I first read it, I read as Shein and had to do like a double take and then realized it was Shinen. Apparently this one was really hard to find in North America as well, but it had a widespread release across Europe. And thank the gods that the last entry into the Strawberry Shortcake game universe is not a minigame one, but a platformer game. This time, we are baking a cake for a competition, and the ingredients we need are spread through 4 locations, all based on the 4 seasons. You begin in spring and work your way across the map in a design style that really resembles the Super Mario game that came out in, I believe, 2005. Maybe 2004, but the way the map looks really reminds me of that like blue icon thing that they had going on. It's a pretty decent platformer that has 3D graphics that I think are a huge improvement on the Strawberryland games that have come before. The world design feels fresh but recognizable, and the character design is also new. The little image that sits on the touchscreen is so cute to me. I need that exact outfit she is wearing or I will die. The different seasons each have their own theming, challenges, and enemies, which all work really well for me. There's a couple of different styles of gameplay to break up the platformer stuff, like the snowmobile level in the winter season. You know how in the past, the actual amount of ingredients that you collected didn't really have a impact on the game overall? Well, in this game it does, as the amount of ingredients that you gather throughout the playthrough is the rank of cake you get at the end, or where your cake places in the competition. Kind of similar to how in Luigi's Mansion, you get a mansion at the end of the game, dependent on how well you played, the money you collected, things like that. Which I think adds a nice bit of substance to the game in that you're doing more than just like completing level by level by level. The way you play the game actually affects the outcome and has some risk to it, rather like the other games where it's like you didn't collect all the ingredients or like nearly as much as you were supposed to, but you still get the reward at the end. From watching playthroughs online, I actually think this would be quite challenging for a younger player. You only have 3 lives for a level, and whilst you can go back to a checkpoint or to the beginning of the platformer level, I think it would be a really steep learning curve for a younger kid, especially with the bubblegum element where you fire off a bubble in order to capture a sweet, which you then jump on. I think learning the gravity mechanics of this game would take a little while for a young kid to get used to. But saying that, I do think it would be a really good introduction to platformer games. It is one that is targeted at girls, and I do think it has a lot of value considering the other shovelware which was coming out at the time. And I genuinely think I would enjoy this game as an adult. Like, watching it, I kind of want to play it, not gonna lie. Once again, we are collecting ingredients, the plot is predictable, but given that the gameplay actually has some substance and quality to it, I'm willing to let it slide in this title. Although it would have been really, really nice to have some unique power-ups per season, because you get a little character who sort of represents each one. I'm pretty sure Orange Blossom is one of them, and it would have been really, really nice to have some power-ups, enemies, which are like specific to that one place. I'm also aware that there is lots of flash games, internet games out there for Strawberry Shortcake, but I'm not going to be covering those, as I feel like if I want to keep a piece of my sanity and have some like years left of my life to just live, I'm not going to cover those, just because tracking them all down and covering them all would be quite difficult. And I know also, other than console games, there has been some iOS releases, as Strawberry Shortcake has stayed popular in her TV show. I don't think that Strawberry Shortcake Temple Run really hits the nostalgia spot like the other titles we've looked at in this video has. But that is going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos just like this. And for now, I'm going to say goodbye. Hydrate to stay great, get your daily calorie intake, and I will see you in the next one.